She was 18.
Uh-huh.
And the first time we ever met up, we went to Mexico because I was like, hey, you want to go on vacation with me? And she said, yeah. So I flew into Dallas to pick her up. Her parents were not pleased. I was 6'3", 250. Actually, at the time, I was 275. Flying in at 20 years old to meet a girl I never met before and take her off to Cozumel, Mexico. So we did that. Then I came back home and went overseas again for my last bit of my deployment because that was my R&R. And came back and got married. Went on a second deployment for a year. That we lived in the middle of nowhere, a lot of firefights, a lot of fun, 4 showers in 1 year. Came back, bought a house. My wife got pregnant, and we had our first child, Chloe, in September of 11. And then I went on my third deployment, which I didn't have to go on. I actually had orders taking me to Fort Hood, Texas, and I got them canceled because I had guys come from all across the nation that looked up to me, believe in me, and I was their leader and their boss. And it's more than, I'm not their dad and I'm not their big brother, but I'm kind of like that scary uncle that's kind of cranky, but you like.
Okay.
Because, I'm not friends with them, but at the same time, I know all about them. I never complain about my life situations to them, but they always tell me what they got going on, and I care for them. But it's just a brotherhood, if you will, but in a way where I felt like, I had to go. It was my duty to go with them. My wife understood that, and so I decided to deploy for my third time instead of go somewhere else and take the year off. And we went over, and it was a really hot zone, firefights everywhere, and the month and a half in that we were there, I was walking along and so my backpack on the ground, and it was on top of a bomb. So I hit an IED on April 10th of 2012.
Changed the life. By the way, not to take away from everything, you did see you met your wife on MySpace, right?
Well, yeah, she's in a MySpace friend request. The picture she was seeing her brother post of the team. Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't even know if MySpace is around anymore. Kudos to you. I've seen pictures of your wife here on the internet, and she seems like a very special person, what she's supported and everything. You guys must have had a special bond to come together so quickly, but not only that, for her to be with you during this crisis that you endured. What explain the accident to the depth that it affected you physically, and maybe let's talk a little bit about what that meant.
All right. So I set my backpack on a bomb, and the bomb, when it went off, it detonated and tore off my right arm and right leg automatically. My right arm was at the mid bicep, and my right leg was at the knee. So those pieces were disintegrated and gone. I got thrown to the left side of my face, and I rolled over. My left eye started to swell shut. But as I was looking around, my left arm was blown out pretty good at the wrist, and my pinky and ring finger were mangled up and mashed. So I had the other thumb and 2, fingers. My left leg was snapped to the bone, dangling. If you imagine your ankle bone touching your thigh.
Yeah.
And then my medic ran up to me, and Doc Bates, and I told him, "Don't worry about it. You're not going to save me. I've seen guys go for a lot less in combat, and I had 2 guys injured. Said, just save them. It's okay." And he gave me let me do my job. So he started to work on me, and my platoon sergeant put tourniquets on me real quick within 20 seconds on all 4 limbs. And as they were working on me, I radioed with my left hand that I had left still. I radioed with my LT and said, "Hey, 6, this is 4. I hit a bomb. I need your guys with mine. Your medic with mine." Then Doc's voice ran up to work on me, and as he's working on me and going through his procedures that he's trained, he kept telling me, "I'm going to be fine. Going to be fine." And kind of was stuck on repeat. So I looked at him and said, "Doc, just do your job. You're fine. I'll be okay. Just do what you got to do."
Yeah.
And then they worked on me. So I was, a double amputee at the time with my left leg broke through the bone, dangling, and my left arm still there. And they took me in to the helicopter finally. And then I got off the helicopter in the hospital, and they rushed me into surgery. And as they rushed me into surgery, I kept telling the nurses to quit touching me. I'm fine. Leave me alone. And I kept trying to sit up. And I said, "Just got my feet underneath me. Get away from me." And they kept pushing me down. And they finally said, "Look, Sergeant Mills, I don't know how you're still awake right now, but you need to go to sleep." And then they went ahead and knocked me out. And as they're knocking me out, I looked at them and said, "My little girl, I'm never going to see her again," because she was 4 months old at the time. And I went to sleep. Then they started to work on me. 9 doctors and 7 nurses started to undress me and get me ready for surgery. And when they took my pants off, my left leg came with it. So now I'm a triple amputee. Wow. And they worked on me for 14 hours straight. 2 nurses for 9 hours pumped air in and out of my lungs. They had to call people to donate blood, A positive and universal, because they ran out of it in the blood bank that day. And they were like mass cal over the radio saying they needed A positive donations. And they took people's blood right out of them, put it right into me. which is impressive because they could have loosened one tourniquet and I would have bled out within, 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
And they worked diligently to keep me alive. And then my brother-in-law got the phone call when it happened, and he met, up with me, and I was still in surgery, and they kept me medically sedated. They flew me to Bagram, Afghanistan, and then they looked at my skin on my left hand and realized that it had died, necrotized, they call it, and they went ahead and cut that off. So I was now a quadruple amputee. And then on April 14th, they woke me up for the first time in Landstuhl, Germany. And I woke up, I was embarrassed and angry, and the first thing I looked at my brother-in-law and I said, my shoulders on my shoulders. And he told me. And then I said, am I paralyzed? And he said, no. And I looked at him and said, you don't got to lie to me, Josh. You can tell me the truth. And he said, you're not paralyzed, buddy, but you don't have them anymore. I told him I can't feel my fingers and toes. And he's like, you don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
And then for 3 hours, probably didn't talk to anybody. The doctors and nurses would try. Josh would try. I looked the other way, just angry and questioning, am I a bad person? Does God hate me? Why did this happen? And then he finally said, you got to call your wife and your family. And I said, I'm not doing that. But he called my wife anyway, and I told him, what's up? I'm fine. Love you, bye. Same thing with my parents. I didn't really feel like talking to them. And I said a few other things. And my mom said, happy birthday, because it was my 25th birthday that day when I found out that I had no arms and legs. So that's how I spent my birthday that year. And then 3 days later, I arrived at Walter Reed. And when I got to Walter Reed, they took me into emergency surgery. My right leg had ripped open. The sutures had split open. They were like, hey, we got to cut 2 inches off his right leg. So I wasn't out of the woods yet. Then the next day I told my wife on the 18th she should take everything we have and go. The house, the cars, the money in the account, everything's hers. Financially, whatever I can do, I'll fund everything that she and Chloe ever need. But that's not the life that she would choose or I want her to live. And she's like, that's not how this works, And she was there for me to get through it all.
Wow. There was a lot of intense moments there in the last few descriptors of what you've gone through. I want to go back to something. I don't want to take anything away from what you've gone through, but I'm in awe over the ability of your team out there in the field to handle the medical emergency that they were in. Looking back on that and the people that were involved on that, is there anything that you can explain to us in terms of the training that they've gone through? I mean, I just can't imagine that you're out there in the dirt, right? And here you are with the medical emergency, and these guys start going to work on you in a hot zone, if you will. What type of people are we talking about? Obviously, you know them, and what kind of training do they go through?
Oh, they have intense training, and they all got to be combat lifesaver certified, CLS, they call it. But they also go through like EMT school, the medics do, and stuff like that. And they did great work that day. They did great work all year long. We had a lot more injuries that happened, unfortunately for us and our guys. But they just phenomenal. They put tourniquets on. A lot of people I meet are like, well, I'm from the Vietnam era. We just didn't see guys like you. It's too bad this happened. And I look at them and I say, you know how lucky I am to still be here? Because the Vietnam guys didn't come back home. Mm-hmm. They had different procedures and practices in place. And I was kind of saving it until the end, but I'll just let you know that the two medics that saved me, Daniel and Alexander, my wife and I had a son. He's turning a year old next month. Actually, this month. August 17th is his 1 year mark, and we named him Dax. So we took Daniel and Alexander and matched some of their letters in their name together and came up with DAX. So he's actually named after the two guys that made it possible, for me to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great tribute. I'm blown away by people's abilities, especially in times of urgent need and care, to just step up and do those jobs that are needed to save a life. And I just couldn't imagine how many people touched you from the moment you were injured until the moment you woke up to keep you alive and get you to where you're at today.
Yeah, I got to meet actually 6 of the 9 doctors that worked on me at an event in Coronado, California. I have a documentary on Netflix. It's called Travis and Soldier Story. And they actually, my medics that fixed me that day came back and relived it and acted it out on me again with the 2 guys that got injured with me. They're in the documentary, all 4 of those guys as well, and my brother-in-law. And they won the GI Film Festival in 2014. But that's on Netflix right now, available for anybody that wants to watch it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer on your website, and I am really looking forward to catching up on some of the TV shows. I've got, like I mentioned earlier, I got 2 little kids at home, so I don't get a lot of TV, especially anything that's even remotely graphic. So we got to stay up late to do that. But Thank you for sharing that and reenacting that, because I think it's good for us to learn what you guys go through over there and what you've gone through, and hear more about your story. So you got to the position of telling your wife to take it all and leave, and she said that's not how it works. What happened from there? Because that's a strong woman. I mean, it didn't sound like you guys had a ton of time together, like a lot of us have in our relationships, because you were deployed. What was that like going through that?
Yeah, I mean, it was rough. We were married 4 years, and she was 23, I was 25, and at the time, and just kind of told her, like, take it and it's yours. And she's like, that's not how it works. And then we just lived at Walter Reed for 19 months of the recovery. And she'd come by with Chloe every day, and I got to see Chloe, and my mom and dad were there, and every day I got a little stronger. And then I realized my only real job now is to get better. The only thing I have to have to do and focus on is get better. So I turned every day into a day of my recovery to get better. And I worked out. First time was 1 hour a day, and then it was 2 hours a day, and then it went up to 8 hours a day. I was doing something with occupational physical therapy every day, 40 hours a week, as much as they would let me, because I realized that, you know what, I'm the only one that can make the choice to get better, but I also only have that left to do. So I might as well get motivated and do my best. So, after 5 weeks, I had a hand again, feeding myself, dressing myself, bathing and using the bathroom by myself. Then I got my legs at 7 weeks and 4 days, got short legs, the starter legs, if you will. And I started walking. And then about 3 months in, I got my tall legs I wear now. And it was a pretty speedy recovery for me in the sense of making those milestones quick. And then it was all about, like, being precise and having the ability to know how to master these things. And now today, you look ahead 6 years, I walk everywhere. I drive my own truck with my prosthetic legs. I feed myself. I do everything I basically want to do. I'm a motivational speaker now and run a big nonprofit, but it was the foundation that was laid at Walter Reed with the staff, with my wife being there, with my child, with Chloe, pushing me forward. Not a lot of dads out there can say they learn how to walk with their daughter or their child, and I can. I can say I literally was learning how to walk when my daughter started to walk, and she would hold my hand, and I'd be on my really short legs, and we would walk around together all over the place.
That is one very positive way to look at that. I love in the trailer when the doctor, and misquote it maybe, but he says, what's your rush? And you said, look at those pictures behind me. I want to get home to my family. Oh,
yeah. I mean, that kept saying you got a year, and at 13 months, I think I was pretty much done in recovery. But they were just like, hey, man, calm down. I'm like, I got nothing else to do, so I have to get better. So they quickly realized that, not that I was different than anybody else. Everybody wants to get better.
Yeah.
But I wasn't gonna lay there and just be like, it's okay, we'll just go today for a little bit. I was just like, every day pushing it. Every day has got to be something different. Every day I got to get going forward to my better future in my life and out of here. And it's resonated with people. At Walter Reed, I was known as the mayor of Building 62. I would go room to room to the new patients that would come in, and I would see how they're doing. I mean, I was the worst you're going to see with the amputees because I had no arms and legs. I'm one of five that survived this. So, one of five that survived this, very thankful for that. But, then I would take Chloe strapped in my wheelchair with a seatbelt, and we'd go around and, get a cookie or get grapes, and we'd go meet people and say hi and, hopefully change their demeanor, which we did. I think we impacted a lot of people, about 120 people in a positive way, saying, you guys are going to be okay. Mm-hmm. It gets better. And then that turned into us taking more people with us. So it wasn't just me. Then I had a party of 3, and then 4, and then 9. And no matter what stage of recovery you were in, if you were in a wheelchair still, if you were walking on short legs or walking on tall legs, if you were, we would all go and be the welcoming committee up there and say, hey guys, what's up? It was a tighter bond of brotherhood. And, from Walter Reed, I can say I didn't refine myself. I'm the same person I was, but I was able to recover and still be a functioning member of society and not worry about my injuries and look at myself as having any limitations that would hold me back from being a great dad or member of, the community and a husband. So, it's really great that it's, the way it is now where I can do all this stuff.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about and it's foreign to me, but can you talk a little bit about basically how the brain works in conjunction with your prosthetics and the process of learning to use them? Because I'm amazed by